All right, good morning, guys. And so this is our next little project for the day. Some kind of geared housing. Customer brought it over, and I don't even know what it is. May not even be able to tell what's wrong with it. But once you do this, then you definitely know what's wrong with it. It just cracked. So, as you guys know, I don't do too much aluminum. And one of the things I'm struggling with now is I'm stuck with my smaller machine, my smaller Miller Econo TIG. So hopefully it has enough power to be able to heat through this. Of course, I'll preheat it all really nicely, and hopefully it has enough power to put some weld down. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it works, and maybe we'll have some success. But we'll have to see. If not, maybe we can switch over to a spool gun. I don't know. But either way, if anything, we're all learning something from it. Either how to do it, or how not to do it, or how I did it. So, stick around. Let's get after it. Okay, so to get things started, one of the things you got to think about when working on broken pieces is, how am I going to put a weld in there successfully? Now in this case, this broke in a way that looks like it's feathered that way, and same thing as a long taper that way. And so when you look at it together, all put together, you think, am I going to bevel this parent side or this side? And so in my view, I would remove most of this here, most of this taper here, so I can get to the center of this down here. And that can be a combination of the two, right? A little bit on the top, gouge a little bit of that off, and grind a little bit of that off. However, this casting down here won't allow me too much room to bevel that way. So what may need to happen is to cut most of this off this way, right in here. And the same with this part here. This is machined, actually looks cast, a cast radius piece in this area. And so as it sits down in here, it's radius that way, and it broke off almost where it begins to be flush on the inside of that cylindrical bore. And so in order to get into that material better, I think it would be better to just do most of the beveling on here. So I will remove a lot of this material right in this area, almost to this edge right here. So that'll create an open, like an open corner joint in a sense, and that'll allow me to put a weld there. And very similar here. Now I asked the customer about this hole right in here. I asked if it was a dowel pin or something. He says it's an oil passage. I'm going to inspect that a little bit further and make sure. But if it's a dowel pin, I'll have to do something about that to make sure it lines up correctly. So that would be a challenge in itself. I'll probably put a piece of carbon in there or something to work around it. That's going to be the trickiest part of this whole thing. That, and making sure that this is hot enough to weld, because aluminum dissipates the heat so fast that it's tough to put any heat into it. And so once I get this all prepared, I will most likely weld this face down this way at the beginning, because I want to clamp this to a surface. That way this stays nice and flat as we can, right? I don't have a way of milling this a couple thousandths, to get it flat, so I'll have to be super careful. And maybe there's some other tricks I can use to make sure it's a flat surface when I'm done. So let's go ahead and start grinding these edges and seeing how we can create that open, or the open corner joint right in this area, so we can fill it in nicely. I can see the line, so I'm gonna turn this around. That looks pretty good right there. I'll most likely grind this down a little bit as well, but this is what I was talking about, trying to get that nice and smooth. Okay, so with just that little bit here that I did right there, you can already tell that that's a pretty good open corner joint right there. I need to take a little bit of more trimming, right, and just be real cautious, because you don't want to overdo it, because you don't want to cause more problems for yourself in lining this thing back up. that kind of thing. So just nice and easy. Same thing here. I'll have to be careful with this corner here. Just slowly go at it. And then of course right here will be the major part of the grinding. And what's interesting is, I'm kind of undecided on whether I should tack it in certain spots to keep it from moving first, and then cut this off. It's kind of a toss-up because this kind of lines up pretty good once you get it back in place. Lines up real nice and flush, pretty close. But we'll have to see, because these things are always tricky and they need to be pretty flat. But I'll keep at it a little bit. I'll do some pencil marks, kind of guide me where I need to take off some more. And same thing here, just start cutting some parts off. And again, I need to look into that hole as well. We'll see what that is. So let's keep going. Let's do that for now. Okay, I gotta say, this guy's a little tricky. It's makes me a little nervous. But if it was already broken, there's no sense in worrying about it, because it was already broken. So if I can fix it, well, great. If not, well, I can't. So I'm gonna try and clean this surface up here just a little bit, and see if I can make that a good weldable surface. Get that paint off of it. Same thing out around here. Okay, let me clean this side up now. Okay, so some good news. I was able to drop this and possibly break it more. I'm kidding. So good news. I was able to confirm that this is an oil passage, not necessarily a dowel pin. Oh, that goes to this hole down here. It cuts across this way. It comes up through here. So it's not so critical that we get it exactly lined up. I can penetrate into there and drill it out if I have to at the end. So that's looking good, really, really good. So the next step, in order to hold this together, I took a measurement across these two bolts. And what I'll do is I get a piece of flat bar and just bolt it to hold it flat on there. This piece flat for the moment. Two sides, this side and this side. And then it'll allow me to weld in here, and I can flip it over and then weld right up over here in this edge. And hopefully that'll hold it pretty flat for the most part. And I did decide on leaving this as it is for now. I can clean all this up beforehand, and then I will probably cut it with a sawzall or some kind of oscillating tool just to create that bevel that I need. But this is really critical right now at the moment for lining this up in its exact location. So get it to where I need to go, and I could either use the die grinder to get it out. I'm sorry, to bevel it out or something, but that'll be a little bit later in the process. In case you're wondering what type of die grinding bit I use this guy. I don't exactly know what it's called, or single fluted maybe, but it works really good on aluminum. It doesn't get clogged up with you know, the galling and the gumming up of aluminum. It does really good. And you know, I try to hold the speed, regulate it with my finger underneath the trigger, and it works. That way it doesn't go too fast and gum it all up. So that works really well. So let me go ahead and get this thing started as far as bolting together. I'm not going to show you me drilling holes, it's boring. So let me get that done and I'll be back in the next step. All right, so I got this installed here. Now it looks like it'll do okay. It stays pretty flat in that area. I left enough room here so I can put some weld in there on the top side, all up in here, all the way around here, and then down here in the center. So I think that'll hold for now. Then we can tend to these areas that I was talking about earlier. So let me go ahead and preheat this. I may put this next to the heater and let it warm up for, you know, 10-20 minutes or so, and while I get my while I get my welding machine ready, and then we can see what we can do to glue it together. All right, let's do that next. Okay, so there it is. Let me turn this off. See how hot this baby is. I say hot enough. Let's do it. Looks like it's hot enough. So I'll give it a shot. I may not be able to squeeze you guys in here to see too much, but let me at least get it tacked in certain places. That way I can kind of get started. And poor machine barely wants to do it. This ground stinks. Let me change out the ground. It is incredibly humid today. It's a very misty, cool day. It's like 59 degrees, but yet it's very misty. And so my welding hood keeps fogging up, and it's very difficult to see anything anymore. But excuses, right? Let's keep going. Okay, so it's not pretty, but it's holding. So I will bevel that a little bit more. I think actually I'm going to focus on this. Oops, let me not do that. I think I'm going to focus on this section here all the way around this front and seal that up first, and then turn it over into the inside. Now that I have more access to this, it should be a little bit easier to put an okay bead on there, you know, something for it to hold. So I got to do it while it's still hot because it's still warm. Let me keep going. Okay, that really sucks, but it's on there. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is tough. If I had my other machine that could adjust the hertz on it, that'd be ideal, because I could focus it really nice and tight in those tight corners, but this is proving to be challenging. So we'll just keep trucking along. Let me clean this up and brush it up, and now I'm going to swap this plate over back to this side so that it holds itself in position while I weld that. So let me do that first. Ouch. Wow! One glove's hotter than the other, or one glove's thinner than the other. Glass is fogged up. All right, so to be straight with you guys, this is turning out to be not fun. It's becoming a little bit of an issue because my poor machine can't heat up enough. That, and I don't have the right stuff. No excuse, I just don't have it. So another thing happened to where excuse me, I did not see that there was a hairline crack that developed in there, and it created a lot of porosity, which made it a horrible mess. But I was able to boil a lot of it out. Now I'll find out when I clean this up with the die grinder, see how well that cleans up. Hopefully there are no pinholes. And another thing, it did warp up a little bit right here, warped a little bit out of place. So this guy bent down that way. So I'll fix that later. I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. But anyway, so next step is to gouge this area right in here with the die grinder. That way I can fill that whole channel, I guess what you call it. And same thing here. Grind this here enough so I can continue this weld in there. And I'm hoping to be able to get the same seal surface. There's an impression right around in here somewhere. Yeah, right around in here. I'm hoping to be able to save that so they can continue using that oiling passage for what is necessary. So let me bevel this out, bevel that out, and I don't think I'll do it on camera because it's just more waste of time. Let's keep going. Okay, so I'm not proud of this, but you know, it's like one of those things. You do what you do when you can do it, and this is what I'm doing. So I brushed it up as best as I could. I can kind of start seeing the weld penetration from the opposite side. I'll try to clean that up just a little bit more with the die grinder, but then from this point forward it's just filling that up. And this side here, very similar. I got really close. I can probably pick that out with my pliers, but really close to that wall edge, so I'll fill that in also. And then I'll do the same thing on this inside here. I'll get that with the die grinder and fill it in. You know, it's kind of tough showing you guys these things because, you know, some of these things are just not pretty, and you just do what you do, or what you can do. So that's the point that I'm at right now, just trying to get it to stick together to the best of my ability. So I will keep trucking. Let me clean that up just a little bit more, and I will start welding it and see what happens. Okay, so we got to this point here. Now, that's about the best I could do. I mean, it is what it is, right? It's kind of better than nothing. But what I did find, oh, this is the next morning, by the way. What I did find is that this did pull a little bit, so it's just a tiny bit out of flat. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any milling tools to kind of get that flattened out. So it's gonna be a cringy thing, but I'm gonna put some sandpaper on this table and sand it flat, which is, you know, I'm not happy about it either, so back off. But anyway, so I'm gonna file these points, these real high points down first, and once I get that down, I'll be able to see exactly how far off I am. I mean, it's probably only a few thousandths. I mean, it didn't seem to be that far off, but I'll know more once I get that taken care of. Now this is pretty rough. I mean, it is rough. So I'll just have to see how well I can fix it up from here. But it's put together, and you know, it's a needed item, so it'll work. You know, not a proud moment on my end, but when you gotta do it, you gotta do what you gotta do. Now, I don't know if you caught some of the welding that I did here, but that was kind of rough as well. And I'm gonna stuff some paper in there because that's an oil passage that goes through here, and it obviously is to oil a bearing that's in here. So I'm gonna try to be careful and stuff some paper in there before, or you know, napkins, so I can avoid that, not getting any shavings in there, any more than necessary at least, and you know, blow it out, that kind of thing. So let me file this down and see how far off from flat we are. And let it dry up a little bit. All right, well, it looks like we got this thing finished up. This wasn't working. It turns out it needed a little bit more off of one side than I could do with a sandpaper. So I did put it on the little drill mill that I have, but all I have is a small little 7/16 wide cutter or so it took forever, run it back and forth. And so I didn't film any of that. But other than that, you know, things are looking good. I don't have a fly cutter to say, or a way to cut this round. So I just used the cutoff wheel on the disc on my drill, nice and slow. But you know, I don't got it. So you do what you do with what you got. So again, came out okay. Some pinholes did expose themselves, but you know, they're not going through to this side. I know some of these moments were a little cringy. I was cringing myself. I wasn't really happy the way it was coming out, but you know, sometimes you just gotta keep on trucking and make it work. And so that's the situation we found ourselves in. Most of my work is out in the field, so I carry field repair tools, not so much stuff for the shop. So I'll be needing to invest in that. So thank you guys for watching. I mean, I hope you guys learn something from it. Most likely what not to do. So this is as good as it's gonna get. We need to go see if it fits. May need a little bit more trim here, you know, with a file or something, but if it fits, if it slides on their shoulder, we are good, and that's all that matters. So it's nice and flat, and it is repaired. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you know, I appreciate all your guys' support. So we'll catch you guys on the next one.